now it runs and starts properly. Go ahead, Bert. So all the things that it didn't have before, idle valve is now hooked up and working properly. It has air intake temp sensor now in the pipe the way it should be. Also has the wideband hooked up into the ECU, so it's actually getting a closed loop feedback, so now it will self-correct itself. We should be good. There's a few things we still want to address. We don't like the fact that there's no intake on it. It obviously has an oil leak. This isn't the best setup because it fills all this area. It makes it a little tight, but maybe that will be round 2. Turbo appears to be a little bit big for a single cam, but we're going to do our best with what we have here. We don't want to keep upping this guy's list of repairs, so we'll see what we can do and make it the best we can do. So we had a whole bunch of problems with that wastegate and everything else going on, but now kick the AC on and off. Look at that, look at that weird flex in the wind. It's literally blowing in the wind.
Not even on highway yet. There we go.
Kick it on and off so we can look at that RPM. See, now the idle valve works properly. So that's going to be worth it in itself. So we fixed the problems. It's making 8 pounds of boost now. The wastegate was doing pretty much whatever it wanted before. We had anywhere from 7 pounds to 14 pounds, which is not fun. Well, go test drive real quick, make sure it's happy. But we went over all the RPM points, all the drivability points. You should be happy now. That's right, that is mine, isn't it?
Yep.
I mean, I've seen some pretty weird tunes over the years. I never really like to tell other people what other people's tunes are like. I kind of stay out of that game. But it was awful. I'm going to send a map to a friend of mine just for kind of like giggles. But the drivability is nice now. It's got decent response. Turbo's a little bit too big for the car. Here it spools really late. You can hear the gate open. Yeah, that wasn't the car. That was definitely a turbine airplane. Gate comes on a little bit late. Turbo is a little bit oversized for a single cam non-VTEC, but it's a off-brand turbo, so you don't really know what it is. But you hear the gate open. So you hear the gate open. It just opens a little bit late, but it's like 170 horsepower, which the non-VTEC cars make 90. So we've almost doubled the power, I guess. You'd actually hear the gate opens. It opens right at the top.
You hear the gate on the street.
Yeah, it's right at the top though. Yeah. Good. Everything feels good?
Yeah.
Alright, he's going to be happy. This car's taking a long journey tomorrow. Here's our mailman. Let's get his packages to him. Alright, quick PSA. You see my fingers right here on that car. It was my mistake, but just kind of bringing something to your attention. The fan was running and it didn't feel like it was blowing the right way, so I kind of put my hand what I thought was in front of it, and that fan was sticking way out from where they usually are, and it didn't have a guard on it, and it hit both those fingers. It bruised that one really badly and cut this one. This is about 2 weeks ago now. I just wanted to explain this real quick. I often get messages saying that I gloss over things in the video and I don't explain them, and it's just sometimes I'm so used to them, I assume everybody is too. Anyway, IAT, that is something important on many cars, especially a Honda. Intake air temperature, that stands for, or air intake temperature. This is something that should be in the stream of the pipe, whether it's a supercharger or turbo. If it's not in the manifold, you want it in the pipe going to the manifold. You want accurate intake air temperature so you can adjust for it and calculate for it. Other thing, very important, is the IAC valve, idle air control valve. What this does is compensate the idle when the car is under load. Either the alternator is under full charge, the AC compressor kicks on, the idle will drop. This compensates. It's almost like you pressing on the gas ever so slightly to compensate that idle to keep it as close to the desired idle. Very important. This will stop you from stalling, stop it from kind of idling high or the idle fluctuating. This is something that was not hooked up on this car, neither was this. O2 sensor. This is when the car is in closed loop. Typically closed loop is less than 70% throttle. That means that it is using the feedback of the oxygen air content to make adjustments to get the car close to the SOHC, which is anywhere between 14.2 and 14.8, somewhere around there, however you set it. this is going to try and keep that air-fuel ratio correct under light throttle, partial throttle. Like I say, up to about 70%. After that, we typically put them in open loop, which means ignore that, do what we've told it to do in the tables. So these were not hooked up on this car. This is pretty important for drivability, and if you don't do these, you're always chasing issues because the car and computer can't compensate. Customer said the car drives better. It has a lot more power than it did. It's a single cam non-VTEC, so they're a 90 horsepower motor from the get-go, so they're not a high horsepower car, but the drivability and the way it feels is the most important. You only spend 5% of the time at full throttle unless you're racing or a drag race car. It's everything in between, and nobody seems to want to tune that area, or they just kind of gloss over it and they don't concentrate on how the actual response is from the car. How does it feel? How crisp is it? How does the throttle response feel? How is the gas mileage? A lot of things that you should do, and I'm not trying to pat myself on the back, but I still feel like I want to do that for my customers. I don't take in outside tunes for many reasons. Usually the cars are just not ready. Kind of like this one, the wastegate didn't work properly. We spent a good hour and a half fiddling with the wastegate trying to make it work and hold boost. So I kind of shied away from that. Don't offer that anymore, just because I want to do good by my customer, and I want to do a good job, and I want to feel like everyone left with value for money. Our S2000 is definitely getting worked on, putting in extra hours. George isn't here today, so I'm kind of running everything on my own. Esther's not here today. She is on a field trip, so I'm trying to do 3 jobs at once and fit in outside work like it is 2000. Anyway, thanks for watching. See you in the next video. Don't forget, enjoy your cars.